I think what really kills me is having the capacity to be psychic and understand what another person is going to say before they even say it. But many times, because then I might respond to what somebody's going to say before they say it, it's a very human thing to then assume that I might be interrupting somebody or I might not be understanding or comprehending the full grasp of the conversation that they might be, we might be having. So it's almost like this vicious cycle of trying to converse with somebody and me being so far past what they're saying in the conversation and then trying to respond to it that it creates like almost disconnect. What also really sucks is because of the nature of so many things of like how reality functions and how so many things are presented to us, it's very difficult for humans to, when they are presented with evidence or knowledge or information that might then counteract what they might have been taught, to accept it, because it's so it's like, imagine being taught for your entire life, just this is a very broad example. Imagine your entire life you're being taught that the sun is the sun, and then out of nowhere somebody comes around and they're like, "Oh, no, actually the sun is the moon and the moon is the sun." It's nothing more than rational from that perspective to, at that point, be like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, are you hearing yourself? So it's almost very jarring to be aware of the fact that people don't have any reason to have a different perspective or have a different belief or be able to interact with you in a different way than what you're experiencing, but still desiring that connection or still desiring somebody to then maybe be able to understand or comprehend what you're saying. Especially when there are so many things that within popular media are taught to be perceived or experienced a certain way, but then when we actually then dissect how they actually interact with our physical reality in real life, it's perceived to be different. So one of my friends, we were speaking about like manifestation in general, and one of the things he was like is, if manifestation is real, then manifest right now. And the only thing I could say is it doesn't work like that. To which his response was, that's exactly how Christians view things, where they say, this is a truth, but they have no evidence of proving such. The only thing that will frustrate me within that construct is that I'm not saying that I can't prove it. I'm saying in which the way that you would like me to prove it is not how it can be proved. The way that certain people like to interact with metaphysical things, it's like, imagine trying to measure the ocean with your telephone. Imagine putting your phone in some water and trying to measure the capacity of the ocean, or even to measure the capacity of a fucking cup of water. There's no ability to do such with which the means you're trying to measure said thing. Now, what I'm willing to do, right, is then get a measuring cup. I'm willing to get a scale. I'm willing to then provide you with the the parameters and then the realm in which then these things that I'm speaking of can then be conducted and be replicated. But humans have this very deep flawed premise that because they might have a conceptual idea of how something might be presented, that that's how it has to be presented. So, for example, if I say that telekinesis exists, there is this inherent belief that I should be able to like pick up this closet or these books up there and then like just toss it or some shit. When in reality, that's just not how it works. Much less manifestation, much less mediumship, much less any ability that is metaphysical and beyond what most humans perceive to be within this physical realm. So it gets very frustrating interacting with humans when I can almost predict, or not almost, I pretty much know what you're going to say before you're going to say. I then try to respond, but then because of the context and the nature of the things that I speak of, there's almost no capacity to understand it. And what used to frustrate me was I used to feel like it's mostly, a lot of times in my experience with this paradigm has been with Christians, but it's just humans in general. And I can't necessarily blame any human for responding the way that they do, because what else are you taught? What else do you see around you? If we're going to look at things objectively, right? If we're going to look at things based off of how everybody experiences things, it would make absolutely no sense for you to experience this physical reality and then some random being just telling you, oh, this is how it actually functions, or this is how it should be, or this is how we can't interact with it. So I get it from a conceptual lens the way that people might perceive the things that I speak of. But it doesn't make it any less frustrating not being able to fully communicate that to them, if that makes any sense. It's almost like I can see the wall I'm going to run into, and then I'm like, maybe I can just avoid it by doing this, this, and that. And then in reality, it's like I was kind of shoved down this hallway in which I had to run down that wall anyway. And that's a really abridged way of, or maybe it's not the best way to explain that phenomena, but it gets isolating when you want to, at least from the perspective that I hold, I really want to be able to share the knowledge that I have with people. I want to be able to share the magic that I know with people. I want to be able to share these profound truths, these profound things that I've experienced, because I understand how, even though I'm not saying my life is perfect, I'm still, living at my mom's house. I'm not acting as if these are changes that can then be, or that will be, because they can be, but I'm not going to say and act as if these are changes that can be, or that will be implemented 100% overnight, and that will directly shift everything. But what I will say is they will and they can 100% impact anybody's life and change anybody's situation. And I'm talking about like the capacity to cure ailments that humans think are completely impossible to do such. Humans nowadays are so wildly disconnected from their true nature and their capacity to be connected to the divine that anybody who preaches an unorthodox way to connect to the divine, it's seen as other. Even down to a subconscious level in which people who aren't even practitioners of religion, because of the fact that they might have been influenced by both a religion and then B, science. And what I want to disclaim is I don't think spirituality and science go against each other. I think the more advanced forms of science, very objective to say science, the more advanced forms of science and spirituality are intertwined. I just don't think that most humans are aware of how that is such. Because even as I try to convey my thoughts, the only thing I can say is what I'm saying, it's not held within my belief. It doesn't have to do with prayer. It doesn't have to do with faith. It doesn't have to do with me hoping for a damn thing. There is an underlying mechanism behind how reality is interacted with and how we function within it. And that is all I ever try to convey to people. So I've come to the conclusion that the only way that you can really ever have people understand that shit is by being fucking rich. Or at least by being in a position that other individuals seem or believe to be higher than what their perspective might be. Or if not higher, then better than, or more advanced, or at least in some way different, to the point in which they can then see a discernible or different, a tangible difference between, I guess, what they are and then what another being is. It feels like that is the almost only way for humans to then be able to fully accept that there might be knowledge that another being could be passing down. So again, I get the nature of the things that I speak of, and to be fair, if anybody were to approach and interact with the things that I say with anything aside from skepticism, if they have not lived through said experiences, then I would probably think you're fucking crazy too. And I think what makes it even more difficult is that the only difference between what I'm saying and somebody on the street is saying is my genuine ability to be in this room right now and actually be able to dissect and then explain to the best of my ability to another person, versus somebody else who might then be experiencing or might have the knowledge or might have the experiences that I have without the context to then fully understand the gravity or fully understand where they lie within the experiences that they might have then, experienced. So I don't know. Hopefully this rant makes some sense. It's going on for 10 minutes now. I'm probably going to rant a couple more videos, or maybe this is the last one. I really don't fucking know. I'm kind of just here right now. But operating in this physical realm, and that's another thing too. I'm in this physical realm seeing the exact same things that other people are. So when I speak about the things that I do, I'm not saying it from a perspective of, oh, I'm in some cloud or in some other realm in which the things that I'm experiencing are not tangible or real, or I'm not being able to witness or interact with the same things other people are doing. What I am saying is there might be another way. And most humans, I argue about 99% of them, simply might not be aware of that. Peace and blessings, and I'll catch you guys in the next rant.